So about a year ago, in one of my most watched, least liked videos, I reviewed a couple aftermarket cyclones. Cyclones that can be added to a 5-gallon bucket and then be powered by your home shop vacuum. And in the end, I deemed the Dustopper as my favorite. And yeah, part of the reason why the video was disliked is because I did a little bit of a challenge between 3 different units, and one of them fell over during the demonstration, and it was deemed an unfair test. We reshot it. That video is now private, so no one can watch it but me, and I still enjoy it. But the big takeaway was this was my favorite, and there were 2 big takeaways. The first one was place this bucket inside of another bucket, and that will prevent this one from collapsing. That actually turned out to be a great tip. And the other one, which I came up with myself or stumbled upon myself, was to add it to a base like this. Yeah, you'll see lots of folks that build mobile platforms that hold their shop vacuum as well as their cyclone. I don't have space for that, and I also use my shop vacuum in other places. But this is fantastic because you can clamp the bucket in here and it won't tip over. So something new has happened. One of my buddies, Tom from Woodshop Nerdery, reached out to me and said, hey, did you see that they've come out with a brand new version of this? And I wasn't in the market for one because I was happy with this one, but I thought, well, let's go ahead and get it. We'll take a look and see what's different. And the first thing I noticed was the price is about $20, $30 more than it once was. So now I'm very curious to know, is there any advantage to it? This is not a thorough review. I don't even know that I'm going to hook it up to my vacuum tonight. But what I do want to do is to check out what's inside of the box and see if it's worth an additional $20 to $30. I had kind of a few beefs with some of these models. The Harbor Freight one I thought was way too chintzy, and of course I used their bucket and their lid, and so many comments were how you should modify the lid, which you can certainly do, but I just wanted to use the thing out of the box, which this one allowed me to do. So let's see what's inside of this and see if they've addressed any of my concerns. And first off, ain't she pretty? They made it clear, so now you can watch your dust spinning around. But of course, you can see whether or not it's being filtered out of the air, which is kind of cool. They've also reinforced the center portion with some gussets, which, that makes sense too. This is the part that's going to go out to your shop vacuum. This is the part that's going to come in from whatever tool is making your dust. And in this kit, you get the hose that's going to run from here into your shop vacuum. Now, you don't use it just like this because now I've just introduced a spot that might create a kink. So they give us some elbows. And in fact, I believe that's a nicer elbow. I think that is a more gradual curve. I could be wrong about that, but that looks good. And we have an additional elbow to take us either into our tool or into the vacuum. So that's smart. There's a couple pieces of wood in here. I'm gonna have to look at the manual to see what these little blocks of wood are for. And then they also give us a gasket. Now this gasket is supposed to go between the bucket and the tool. And that's great because you can get a little bit of leakage here. But to me, the most interesting thing that I see here, the most interesting thing is it now has catches for clipping it onto the bucket. One of my concerns is, and I know that lids on paint buckets can get fatigued from being pried on and off. And that's a great idea, that's going to clip on and off. Very cool. Printed into their tooling, it says slots. All right, give me a minute and we're going to figure out what all this means. Here is on installing the gasket. That's good. And look, you can scan this QR code. Let's see where that takes us. The instructions point out a little dimple here in the molding where you can connect a ground wire, I guess to keep us from getting any sparks and static electricity, because static electricity does certainly build up on our hoses and on these cyclones. Okay, so it says that grounding wire hardware is included, and sure enough, there's a washer and a bolt and a nut, no ground wire included. But what are the blocks of wood for? You know, this instruction comes in several different languages, and there's even a community. Who knew that there was a community? All right, this thing is available from Home Depot. I don't know if it's exclusively from Home Depot. I found it available on Amazon when I purchased this one. If you don't have a Home Depot near you, of course, you can order online from them. I'll link to it on Amazon if you want to support the channel. Appreciate you doing that. And you know what? You don't even have to buy the thing that you clicked on. It supports the channel as long as you end up buying something on Amazon while you're there. So thank you very much. The rain that was promised has begun, so that means it's time to move on to the practical portion of our presentation. Just a quick look at the inside of these two. They are essentially the same size. They both have this separator that we talked about in the previous video is based in no small part on the design of the fine separator. You can see it is a bit different in the way that they have changed their dies. I guess that's based on experience. Still don't know what the slots mean, but we're going to go ahead and run this real quick again as sort of a base model with the old version, and to see if the new one is any faster. Find out. Also, again, worth noting is the fact that the old design does not have a seal where the lid meets the bucket. All right, we're connected to the original Dustopper. See how this goes? You gotta start that over again. I forgot. We gotta start that over again. I didn't even think to check to see if my vacuum is empty. And it is not, so we gotta empty it out as well as the bucket, and we'll try that all over again. Again, the point of this is to eliminate dust getting into our pleated filter, because as soon as this gets clogged up, we lose our suction. So we want this to stay as clean as possible. Time. Capture a bunch of it, at least. Empty. So now let's get the other fella. Okay, it looks like my gasket is overlapping by 1/4 inch. It says if the gasket is too long, don't cut it. Just work it around until it fits. And I would say that is that. All right. I'm assuming you're going to want to see this. So let's see if we can get this rigged up for you. Though that great video. That was fast. Let's empty this out. We'll get the camera on top so you can see that happening again. There again is our dust. And once again, the vacuum is clear of debris. That's interesting. So when I accidentally clogged the end of the hose, it seemed to create some turbulence, and I think that sent some dust up through the hose. Let's check that out. This might have had the same effect. Oh. We've got a bag. Somewhere along the line, we picked up a bag. That's interesting. Oh, and look at what also happened when I created that suction. Wow. Yeah, again, good reason to have a second bucket. But hey, we didn't pick up any debris, so that's a good sign. Wow. So what did they improve? Clear top, gussets on the top to help to keep that secure, keep it from collapsing. Seal where it meets the bucket, which gives it obviously a great seal. The latches to allow that to stay on the bucket, but at the same time release without deforming the lid. I think they got a winner on their hands. Is it worth another 20, 30 bucks? I don't know, that's up to you. But what I will say is I will take that even at 20, 30 bucks more. I will take this over the Bauer Cyclone any day. I was able to put it on the bucket and then just go about my business. So I like that about it. All right, looking forward to your questions, comments, cheap shots. Make it a great day. You know, there are going to be some that will say that I just molecued this review. This wasn't a review, kind of a first look. So I look forward to hearing from folks in the Dustopper community down in the comments below. Tell me if you've used this, what you think of it, if you have an opinion between this and the original. What I will tell you, if you want one of the originals, they're on clearance at Home Depot at this very moment. I saw a sticker that said $15. But they were long gone, so it might be worth checking out. I'm very pleased with this one and can absolutely recommend it.